Well, I tried making a video showing you the lawn and my garden, but apparently my phone has started turning apps on and off randomly, so I'm going to take this again with my, you see my Sony Handycam. So this is the back of my house, and these are the plants that were inside all winter. Some of them are having kind of a rough time. I'm hoping they come back. I don't know, we'll see. I think it's a little bit early in the year for some of them, especially for having been inside for so long. You can tell the wood's still green, so I like to think they've got a chance. As well as here, the little bonsais as well. And you can see also I've got a bunch of weeding to do, kind of all through here. Weeds all through that part. But I'll take care of that maybe next week. And here are my Chinese wisteria. So last year when I bought these, they really didn't start to blossom until maybe June. So I assume that I probably won't see anything at least for a month here. But they look like they're in good shape, and a lot of the wood is in, I've got these nice interlacing vines. My English ivy mess, you can see that's starting to crawl its way back into the walkway, so I'll have to come back and cut that out, as well as spray for the grasses. Last year I sprayed all of this decorative grass, and some of it's coming back, so I'm going to hit that again as well. The three lilacs are in quite good shape. This little lilac, this is the one that looked like it was having such a tough time at the end of last year. But it's back, and it looks quite healthy. If I remember right, this has kind of a white bulbs to it, or white blossoms. So they start out green, and hopefully they'll come into full bloom pretty soon. This one, you can start to see the purple buds come out, and this other one's, remember, this was the little, I think it was called like a Tinkerbell or Pixie or something. So it has a bunch of really small little flowers that are going to come out. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Of course, here's the daffodils. They're apparently came up through 6 inches of rock to blossom. So they'll be here for a little while longer. The flowers seem to have exhausted themselves. The hydrangea, and it hasn't come out yet, but the wood's still green. I think it was looking very good at the end of the year, so I'm hoping that it wintered well. We have a nice collection of mulch there. Over here, most of the grasses I killed. They're stayed dead. I still have a few coming back that I'm going to have to spray. And this little tree, it was about this tall when the winter came and the rabbits ate it all the way down. There's a couple little growths here, which I think are new growth. I can trace them back here, so they go back to the main plant. And then I don't know if you can see this, but there's some little green sprouts coming on the little twigs that are cut down to ground level. I really like that plant. It smells like vanilla when it's in blossom. Tulips, of course, are coming up. They pretty much run wild here. And my little weeping, I can't remember what this is called anymore. It's a weeping, I can't remember. It's not a pine tree. It's not a pine tree, though, because it loses its leaves in the winter. The leaves turn orange and it falls off. So I'm going to try to do a little bit of training here and cut some of this undergrowth, and try to get kind of a little bit of a waterfall coming off the front as well. Here's the boxwood. I cut that back, and it's doing quite well. And here's some more boxwood. Apparently that's very popular out here. This is my succulents, and the succulents, they're coming back quite well. These succulents over here, these guys I'm going to have to probably rake a little bit and see if I can get a little food on them. They're a little smaller than they used to be. But all of this creeping succulent like that, that's doing very well. Now I'll trim the juniper back to make sure that they stay clear. And over here I've got some of the crocus. And so I planted about 200 crocus bulbs. They're about maybe a half-inch diameter, and I planted those in November. So I've got the crocus, and you can see a bunch of them are chewed down. The rabbits have been mowing them down to the ground. But when I planted the crocus, apparently there were also some of these little purple, I don't know what they are, mixed in with them. They're beautiful, but they're definitely not crocus. So that's okay. They're quite nice, and maybe this next year I'll plant some more bulbs. I'm quite fond of those little plants that pop up. The juniper, as usual, is just juniper. There's a lot of kind of dead looking parts, and I know that I'll probably have to start cutting some of this back and then maybe planting something else in here. Same thing here. I've got all of these dragon's blood, and with the dragon's blood, it's got grass all through it, so I'll probably wait for the grass to grow up about another 6-7 inches, and then touch the tops of it with Roundup and see how far back I can cut it. And these are again those little I don't know what they are, but they're flowering plants. They flower about August or September, and they seem to be doing well. I think the dragon's blood has pretty much overwhelmed them, and I'm hoping I can get the dragon's blood to kind of grow all through this region at some point. It might take a little bit of effort, but we'll see what comes out of it. This little crazy plant, again, I can't remember what it is. It's got big bushy flowers that come out every once in a while, and you wind up with these, let's see if I can find an example. You wind up with these type of long seed pods. I'm going to probably start spraying it for aphids right now. The past 4 years it's had aphids, and as soon as the leaves open up, the aphids come out and they cause the leaves to shrivel up. And after the first spraying, then I'll also probably dump a box of ladybugs out here and just let them go wild. Ladybugs usually sell out pretty early in the year, so after the poisons clear it up, I'll drop the ladybugs in and let them go at it. The lawns looked better, but well, it's the story of a lawn, isn't it? Everyone else is coming in. Got some beautiful orange foliage here. And the decorative grasses are coming back. Let's walk over here. I'll start on the back side and go forward. This is another plant, and again, I don't remember the name. It has kind of an aroma that's a little orange-like, so it's starting to come out. It looked like it had a hard winter, but I gave it a good mulching, and hopefully it will come out and sprout and give us flowers. I tried to buy flowering plants that would both be extremely potent and nice, and also would stagger the blossoms. So this should blossom in I guess late June, and the lilacs will be in early June, and then that little vanilla scented plant will be in midsummer. Over here, this is well, a little disappointing. I haven't seen any of the iris come up yet. There were probably about a dozen iris in this region, and I took them out and cleaned them up and broke up the tubers and replanted them. Like here's one, you can see, so I've got a couple of them that are just near the surface. So I'm hoping that they survived, but you really can't tell. There's a lot of digging here, so for all I know, someone came and had a feast of iris bulbs. I don't really know. We'll see. We'll see. I don't have anything planted in this region. Right now, I'm just going to give it a little bit of time. I'd kind of like to put that, I've got a colossal chestnut. And that could be kind of cool to put a colossal chestnut there. The bushes are coming back. And, oh, here the clematis. clematis are green again. So some of the clematis, which is already on the vine, it's turned green and it's starting to grow, so I'm going to train that. Others of the clematis, for example, the one in this corner, it died completely back, so now it's sprouting out of the ground. Same thing with this one. So this one, all of the vines are dead, but it's sprouting out of the ground, and I'll train it up. This one. So this one and this one both seem to be doing okay in terms of it's sprouted and is growing. This clematis passed away. I think that actually died in August, so I'm gonna replace that probably soon. Maybe in next week or something like that, because I would really like to have this whole shed kind of covered in clematis. I think that would be gorgeous. And here's more crocus. So with the 200 bulbs, I planted crocus all around the base of these plants, and these all had beautiful little orange flowers until the rabbits ate them down. And actually, I've got some what looks like I guess these are maybe roses. No. These this a little seedling coming off of the bush. So I'll check that a little bit. Anyway, so I planted these with the intention of them popping up during the snow, because usually would still be snow around the base of the bushes, but they all sprouted fairly late this year. I assume it's because they were newly planted on campus. The crocus all came up about a month before mine did. The roses have some nice new growth on them. I really cut them back deep last year. So we should have roses probably this June, July. I'm starting to get new growth off of my red twig dogwood. I also might plant another dogwood here. I had this Arctic dogwood, which was kind of a green color, and I thought that was gorgeous, but last year it was at the nursery, and it had a late frost, and I think it killed them. So I was able to get my money refunded, and all I have is the red twig dogwood. And this is one of my succulents. I took a few of them and I planted them over here too, thinking that they might move over with their neighbors, and more crocus. All through here we've got these flowering succulents, and some more crocus in here. You know what? There were more crocus here this morning, kind of going across all through here. Someone's been out snacking today, unfortunately. On this side, again, I got a bunch of grasses, and I'm going to wait for that to grow up and then try to give it a gentle touch with Roundup. And I'll have to kind of pull out a bunch of these flowers from last year. The dead sticks on the succulents. And here I've got again daffodils and crocus that I planted all among the daffodils. I think these are going to be tulips when they come up, and tulips over there. Got some of these little like grape things, these little grape bells, and those were here when I moved in. I think they're very pretty, so maybe this next year I'll plant a bunch more of those. I don't know. Here's crocus, and these bushes are coming up. So at the end of this year, I'll probably trim these way back. The new growth on these are very pretty. They're kind of a light, lemon lime green color. And I think that's about it. The juniper on the back is starting to fill in nicely, and I know that it's just a matter of weeks to days before we start getting a lot of the pollen coming off of those. But I'll try to keep myself doing well, keeping them under control. And here's some little flowers here. Again, I don't know what they are, but I think it's pretty cool. And then here's my work area. Got some peat moss and other soil that wintered over here. So that's the state of the garden, and I will make another update in a couple weeks.